Hey, what's going on, everyone? Ruben Snow here, and today our relationship topic is going to be on the paradox of choice. So, what's the paradox of choice? Most people think nowadays that having decision is much better than having more decisions is much better than just having, say, 2 decisions versus 5 decisions. But if you take a closer look at it, the more decisions we have, and you've probably been in this situation, the more decisions you have, the more indecisive you become. So as you see nowadays, I used to work in a cell phone store. So if somebody came and bought an iPhone, the iPhone comes in about 3 colors now. And just sitting there the person trying to figure out what color they want, what size they want, there's too many options versus back in the day when it was just black or white, or even at one point where it was just black. They didn't have white yet. There was only 2 sizes, so you got one size or the other. It was easier to make choices. You used to get people in and out real fast. But then it just, more decisions, more choices just created more of that indecisiveness and people not knowing what they want, and then they pick one thing, come back a few days later because they didn't want that specific color or size, and they decide to go into another. Now, where am I taking this when it comes to relationships? Because most of us, and especially when I was in the dating community, very heavy into it, they will always say, have a lot of girls because then you can make a decision. But it actually becomes harder for you to make a decision, especially if you've been in it for a while and you meet specific women that are really cool, really awesome, and really good to you, and then eventually you want to probably settle down because too much time to invest in too many different people at the same time. So it's like, where do you go with this? And that's what I want to take this into. And this brings me to a certain theory, which is the maximizers versus the satisficers. So there's people who want to get the maximum amount, the best. And what happens with that is those are the people that consume the most time. So for example, when I was reading Aziz Ansari's book, Modern Romance, he has an example where he always looking for the best. So he's always looking for, let's say, he puts a restaurant like tacos. He wants to find the best taco place in New York City. A place like New York City has hundreds of thousands probably of taco spots. So it's like, how do you sit there and look for that? You can be on the internet for hours on end, Yelp, reading customer reviews and all this. Next thing you know, hours have passed by, you still haven't chosen a taco spot. So you end up choosing one, you're not too happy about it. It's what he says, like a recipe for disaster. Well, misery. You feel you're not completely satisfied. You're not happy with the choice you made because you're probably thinking like, maybe that other one was better, maybe that other one was better, but you couldn't make a decision because maybe they all had 4.5 stars and hundreds of reviews. You'll be there for days trying to figure out. So in terms of relationships, it's the same way. Many men have a number system when they rate a girl. So for instance, you see a girl, they might be like, oh, she's like a 10, man, she's really hot. But then you have girls that are 6s and 7s and 8s and whatever the case may be. But what is a 10 to you could be a 6 to someone else. And it's like, it can be a whole bunch of ways. And if you're always looking for that constant 10, you'll never truly be satisfied, even when you do find one and end up being with that woman. In retrospect, you look at when you are in the dating game, you usually find where you stand. So if you're an average looking guy, you'll probably end up marrying an average looking girl. If you're a very good looking man and a model type, usually they end up marrying someone who's similar to their looks. So if they're 9, they end up marrying someone between 8 and 10, right? And if you're a 6, you end up marrying, and that's what tends to happen. But most people don't understand that, so they try to be a maximizer and get the best, and they end up very unhappy because they can't never find the best. And you have people who are satisficers, where they're satisfied. They may not get the best, but they look for something in terms of their values, and they usually end up being the happiest, and they find someone who makes them happy. That may not be the best looking person they probably ever dated, but can give them the most, so the most return on their investment. So that's the difference between the maximizers and the satisficers. Alright, so now the example I'm going to give to you is from Osho when I read his book on love. And he talks about dating really attractive people and how that is actually not too great. I mean, there's nothing wrong with dating very good looking people, but the fact that they have tons of options, tons of people looking for them, they're very attractive, so they're going to attract a lot of people to them. And it depends on you and how strong your willpower is. How do you get jealous often? Like, these are things that you have to think about. If you're the type to get really jealous and you can't kind of handle all the attention she's getting or he's getting, then this is going to be a recipe for disaster, because you are just going to be always jealous. You're going to be like that guy who dated this really hot girl. He's an average dude. She's some kind of actor. Oh, I'm going to find that story. And he ended up committing suicide. Why? Because she always had this, like, all this attention. He would just be in the backside. If you look at all the pictures, he's always just in the back, and she's just like, hello, here I am kind of girl. And you know, he thought she was having an affair, and all this happened, and he ended up committing suicide. That can happen to anybody. So when it comes to the choice to choose, you have to understand yourself, so the relationship with yourself, because the choices you make have a rippling effect in all areas of your life, and you never know where you might be from making that choice in a few months or years, and that is being in a relationship with someone. So if you choose to be in a relationship with someone, you have to understand that the choice you made is it's gonna work out in your favor in the future. So Osho says about the dating the very attractive people, if you're very attractive, you're gonna find someone that's very attractive, and make sure they have all the traits you want as well. So on to the last part. So in conclusion, where do we take this? I invite you to read this book by Barry Schwartz. It's called The Paradox of Choice, just like my title. And when you read it, let me know what you think in the comments below, because when it comes to choices, where do you fit in? What does this tie into you? Do you feel like you've made wrong decisions in your life, indecisiveness, and you get very paralyzed when you have too many decisions? So it's like, how do you work your way into becoming that decisive person, having not too many decisions, but knowing, like, what do I value most? I'm gonna go for this. You know, whether that, you know, let's say you're going to pick out a phone and it has 12 colors, you know, you have 3 top favorite colors, blue, red, and white, let's say. So you're gonna pick between only those 3. You're not gonna look at all of them and be like, well, the purple kind of looks nice. No. And when it comes to relationships, if you have too many options, if you're a good looking person, you have too many options, it's time to start investing in the right people, the people that catch your attention, the people you have the most similarities with, but you can, like, have a great conversation with, instead of having to decide on, like, oh, this person, I'm going to try with this person, and invest all my time and all my energies for months at a time with these different people. You won't get anything else in your life done. So read that book, let me know in the comments below what you think, and as always, stay awesome.